Gaza's Triumph, a journey of resilience and renewal. Chapter 1. The Silence After the Storm. The first rays of dawn broke over Gaza, casting a warm light on a city that had endured too much. The air was still, the sound of bombs replaced by a quiet hope. Word spread like wildfire. The fighting had stopped. Gaza had declared victory, and the people felt a surge of pride. The streets, once scarred by conflict, began to fill with voices, soft at first, then rising into songs of triumph. Palestinian flags waved proudly, a symbol of resilience. The ceasefire was more than an end to war. It was the beginning of a new chapter for a people who had never lost hope. Chapter 2. A United Spirit. In every corner of Gaza, unity was the heartbeat of the city. Neighbors who had shared food and shelter during the darkest days now gathered to celebrate. Families embraced, their laughter mingling with tears of relief. "We stood together," said Fatima, a mother of 4, her voice steady with pride. "We helped each other through the worst." The community's strength had carried them through hardship, and now it fueled their joy. From young to old, the people of Gaza knew their unity was their greatest weapon, one that no conflict could break. Chapter 3. The Return of Laughter. Children, the heart of Gaza, spilled into the streets, their laughter a melody of freedom. For too long they had known fear, hiding from the chaos of war. Now they chased each other through alleys, their faces bright with smiles. A boy named Omar kicked a worn soccer ball, his friends cheering as it soared. "I feel free again," he said, his eyes sparkling. Parents watched, their hearts lighter, knowing their children could play without fear. The sound of joy was a victory in itself, a testament to Gaza's unbreakable spirit. Chapter 4. Clearing the Ruins. The scars of conflict were everywhere: crumbled homes, shattered schools, and silent hospitals. Yet the people of Gaza refused to be defined by destruction. In neighborhoods across the city, families began clearing debris, their hands working with purpose. "This is our home," said Hassan, a carpenter, as he lifted a beam. "We will rebuild it stronger." Volunteers joined in, young and old, united by a shared dream. Every cleared street, every salvaged brick was a step toward renewal. The damage was vast, but the people's resolve was greater. Chapter 5. The Sea's Embrace. The sea near Gaza sparkled under the sun, its calm waters a symbol of hope. Fishermen, grounded for too long by the conflict, prepared their boats once more. "The sea is our life," said Khald, a fisherman, as he mended his nets. "We will provide for our families again." With hope in their hearts, they set sail, their boats gliding over gentle waves. The sea, once a distant dream, was now a promise of abundance. Each cast of the net was an act of faith in a brighter future. Chapter 6. The Markets Come Alive. The markets of Gaza buzzed with life once more. Stalls overflowed with fresh fruits, bread, and spices, their colors a stark contrast to the gray of war. Vendors called out, their voices full of energy, while families shopped for food and supplies. "It feels like home again," said Amina, a grandmother, as she picked out tomatoes. The markets were more than places of trade. They were spaces of connection where stories of survival were shared. The sound of laughter replaced the echoes of fear, and Gaza's heart beat stronger. Chapter 7. Songs of Victory. As night fell, Gaza glowed with celebration. Lanterns and flags adorned the streets, casting a warm light over the city. People gathered in squares, singing songs of triumph and dancing to the rhythm of drums. A young musician named Samir played his oud, his melodies weaving stories of resilience. "This is our victory," he sang, his voice carrying over the crowd. Families shared sweets, their smiles brighter than the lights above. The celebrations were a declaration. Gaza was alive, and its people were unbreakable. Chapter 8. The Leader's Pride. The leaders of Gaza stood before their people, their faces etched with determination and pride. "We have protected our home," said one, his voice steady. "Our courage has shown the world who we are." The crowd cheered, their flags waving high. The leaders spoke of peace, of a future where Gaza could thrive. They thanked the people for their strength, for their refusal to surrender. "This victory belongs to every one of you," they said, and the people of Gaza felt their pride swell, knowing they had stood tall together. Chapter 9. The World Watches. News of Gaza's resilience spread across the globe. Countries sent messages of congratulations, moved by the courage of a people who refused to break. Humanitarian organizations pledged aid, promising to help rebuild schools, hospitals, and homes. Volunteers from distant lands arrived, ready to lend their hands. In cities far away, people rallied, waving Palestinian flags and calling for peace. "Gaza has inspired us all," said a diplomat, her voice filled with admiration. The world was watching, and Gaza's story was one of hope and strength. Chapter 10. The Children's Dreams. In schools across Gaza, children prepared to return to their classrooms. Though many buildings were damaged, teachers worked tirelessly to reopen them. "We will learn again," said Noor, a young girl with a notebook full of drawings. "I want to be an engineer and build new homes." The children's dreams were a beacon of hope, their pencils sketching visions of peace. Parents and teachers smiled, knowing these young minds would shape Gaza's future. Education was not just a right, it was a promise of renewal. Chapter 11. Healing the Wounded. Doctors and nurses in Gaza worked tirelessly, tending to the injured with care and compassion. The end of violence brought relief to their hearts, allowing them to focus on healing. "We are here for our people," said Dr. Naila, her hands steady as she bandaged a wound. Hospitals, though strained, began to hum with hope. Volunteers brought supplies, and the community rallied to support the caregivers. Each healed wound was a step toward recovery, a sign that Gaza was mending in body and spirit. Chapter 12. Planting for Tomorrow. Farmers returned to their fields, their hands digging into the earth with purpose. "We will grow food for our families," said Ibrahim, a farmer, as he planted olive seeds. The fields, once neglected, were coming back to life. Trees were planted, their roots a symbol of Gaza's endurance. Children helped, their small hands placing seeds in the soil, dreaming of a green future. The act of planting was more than agriculture. It was a commitment to growth, to life, to hope. Chapter 13. A City of Light. The streets of Gaza were transformed, adorned with lights and flags. Families lit candles to honor those lost, their flames a quiet tribute amidst the celebrations. The city glowed, its beauty reborn through the efforts of its people. "We will make Gaza shine," said a young artist, painting a mural of peace on a rebuilt wall. The lights were a reminder of resilience, a promise that darkness would not return. Gaza was a city of light, its people radiant with hope. Chapter 14. The Call for Peace. The leaders of Gaza stood before the world, their voices clear and resolute. "We want peace," they declared. "We are tired of war, but never of hope." The people nodded, their hearts aligned with this vision. They dreamed of a future where their children could grow without fear, where markets thrived and homes stood strong. The call for peace was not just for Gaza, but for all who believed in justice. "Join us," the leaders said, and the world listened, moved by their courage. Chapter 15. The Fishermen's Hope. The fishermen of Gaza returned to the sea, their boats bobbing on calm waters. "The sea is our future," said Yosef, his hands steady on the rudder. Each catch was a victory, a step toward providing for their families. The sea, once a place of uncertainty, now offered promise. Families gathered on the shore, cheering as boats returned with nets full of fish. The fishermen's hope was Gaza's hope, a belief in abundance, in renewal, in life. Chapter 16. The Artist's Vision. Artists across Gaza picked up their brushes and instruments, creating works of beauty and resilience. Murals adorned walls, telling stories of courage and unity. Musicians played, their melodies carrying messages of hope. "Art is our voice," said Rania, a painter, as she added color to a school wall. The children watched, inspired to create their own drawings of peace. Art was more than expression. It was a way to heal, to dream, to rebuild Gaza's soul. Chapter 17. The Mother's Joy. Mothers in Gaza wept tears of joy, their children safe at last. "I can sleep knowing they are here," said Sarah, hugging her daughter tightly. The end of conflict brought peace to their hearts, allowing them to dream of brighter days. They cooked meals, shared stories, and laughed together, their homes filled with warmth. The mothers of Gaza were the backbone of the city, their love a force stronger than any weapon. Their joy was a victory, a promise of better tomorrows. Chapter 18. A Global Embrace. The world's response grew stronger, with nations and organizations pledging support. Aid arrived, food, medical supplies, and materials to rebuild. Volunteers worked alongside Gazans, their hands joined in a shared mission. "We see your strength," said a volunteer from abroad, helping to rebuild a school. Gaza's story inspired millions, sparking calls for peace and justice. The global embrace was a reminder that Gaza was not alone, that its dreams were shared by many. Chapter 19. A New Beginning. As weeks passed, Gaza began to transform. Schools reopened, their classrooms filled with eager students. Markets thrived, their stalls overflowing with life. Homes rose from the rubble built by hands united in purpose. The city was alive, its streets buzzing with hope. "This is our new beginning," said a young man, hammering a nail into a new roof. The people of Gaza knew the journey was long, but their spirit was stronger. They were ready to write a new story, one of peace and possibility. Chapter 20. A Hope for the Future. The people of Gaza looked to the horizon, their hearts full of dreams. They envisioned a city where children laughed, families thrived, and peace prevailed. They planted trees, built schools, and sang songs of hope. "We are Gaza," they said, their voices united. "We are strong and we will rise." The world was invited to join them, to help rebuild not just a city, but a future. Gaza's story was one of resilience, courage, and hope, a story that would inspire generations to come.